Hi, I'm Jason Alcott, author of the upcoming book, The Sewing Principle, and today we're going to talk about motivation and self-discipline. But before we do, I wanted to say a huge thank you to everybody that has already subscribed to the channel below and has given thumbs up to previous videos. The encouragement has been incredible, and it's really been sort of lifting me up and encouraged me to continue and to keep going. So thank you so much. Motivation and self-discipline, two pretty big topics, and I kind of see them as almost two sides of the same coin. So starting with motivation, I remember I was listening to a podcast a number of years ago. It was with a gentleman who was a professional golfer, and he was sort of talking about how he was coming up in his career and when he really went from being sort of more of an amateur to being a pro. And he was talking about had a pretty busy life. Obviously, he was golfing every day. He was getting better and better at what he does. He was golfing every day. He's a wife, married, kids, so he's got a lot going on, and he recognized that in order to be able to take his game to the next level, what he needed to do was not just to be able to golf every day, but he actually needed to work out. He needed to get physically active each day, above and beyond actually golfing every single day. And so he evaluated his schedule and looked at it and tried to figure out how was he going to fit this in. He had, see what he really wanted to go after, obviously going pro and doing what that entails. But we recognized the only time that it was going to work for him to work out was actually after his wife and kids had already gone to bed. And what struck me in this is he said he did this for years. He actually carved it out where he worked out every night after his wife and kids had gone to bed for a number of years. And it really helped him sort of elevate his game and become the pro golfer that he is. And what struck me is he goes through this conversation and he said that there was not one day when he was working out in the evening where he felt motivated to go downstairs to his basement where his own personal gym was and actually work out so that he could get better. Not one day out of years that he actually felt motivated to actually go do it. And I think we put this emphasis on this word motivation. It's like, well, when I feel motivated, then I'll go forward. Then I'll take the step. I'm waiting for the motivation to start this new track in my life or start this new habit or eat healthy or whatever it is. And we're looking for something that maybe isn't actually really there, if that makes sense. James Clear in his book Atomic Habits says that most people think that they lack motivation, but what they really lack is clarity. I'm reading his book. They're the second or third time through right now. Really enjoying it. Again, highly recommend it. James Clear, Atomic Habits. But when he said that line that people think that they lack motivation, but what they really lack in clarity, it really resonated with me in that when I know in my own life, when I've had clarity of a vision or clarity of values, it has helped to pull me along. There's sort of a pull as compared to what I see as like, maybe I felt like I'm looking for this push of self-motivation to actually push me forward to go something. When I have clarity, I'm actually pulled in that direction. I'm actually pulled in the direction of that vision. An example in my own personal life, I know that when God was speaking to me and I was walking through this journey of, God saying very clearly to me that, the type of man that I was at that time is not going to be able to date or marry the woman that, God sort of had picked out for me. I needed to step up my game, basically. In those initial sort of conversations and prayers and what God sort of shared with me, what I recognized or thought that I needed was I needed to read my Bible every day because I thought that's what a good Christian man does. So, wanting to marry a good Christian woman and the incredible wife that I'm now married to, I recognized, okay, so I need to step up my game. I thought, well, a good Christian man will read his Bible. It was very mechanical. It was challenging. There was a lot of failure, as I sort of started to take those initial steps. But then as God continued to share with me, speak to me through his word and give me clarity in his vision for my life, it became incredibly clear for me and it radically changed my life that God doesn't want me to read my Bible every day. That's not his goal for me. His goal for me is to have a better relationship with him, a better relationship with Jesus Christ, a better relationship with his son. And in doing that relationship is built through my reading my Bible every day and through my speaking with him in prayer every day, giving him space to speak into my life. And so all of a sudden, as I had this clarity about what it is, the direction that I was headed, this relationship that I was building, then reading my Bible became a part of that. But all of a sudden, I was able to take those steps and it was way less mechanical because it was me having a conversation. It was me building relationship. I was pulled in the direction of the relationship as compared to trying to force myself in the self-motivation of trying to read my Bible every day. Now, maybe an example like that doesn't resonate with you right now. Maybe that's not where you are in life, in your relationship with Christ or in what you know about, Jesus Christ. And I totally get that. Life is messy. It's full of opportunities where we, things fail and things break and we get opportunities to pick up the pieces. In my own life, I think about yesterday. It's a perfect example. It's 8:45 p.m. It's been a pretty long day. I've been up since about 5 a.m. Work was hectic and busy, as I'm sure it is for a lot of you. I get home, the kids are a blast right now. They're so much fun, but again, a lot of energy, a lot expended. And it's 8:45, and I'm thinking about giving this talk today about motivation. And I'm also looking at my life and going, okay, you've been away for a couple of days on vacation. You haven't actually done any physical workouts for like well over a week. What are you going to do? That sort of was where I was sitting, and I look at that and I've got this clarity. There was definitely no motivation to step forward, to go out and to actually work out last night. There was no motivation. I really just wanted to lie down and go to bed. I was tired, which kind of brings me to the second point of self-discipline. So as I mentioned, I look at self-discipline as sort of part 2 of motivation. It's sort of the next step, the flip side of the coin. It's like, well, I've already worked out before. It's not like I've never worked out before. So now it's the self-discipline to continue to work out, to continue to be physically active. This is my own personal example just from yesterday. So how does that work? So I've definitely got clarity. I know what I'm looking for. Health is one of my values. I know what God's called me to. And I think sometimes when I listen to the word self-discipline, and maybe you're like me, you're like, well, I'm definitely not a self-disciplined person. And I put a lot of the onus on myself to actually lift me up and sort of carry me through this situation. I'm like, well, under my own strength, should I then go forward and just get up and magically work out? But then in my devotions a number of years, or about a year ago or so, I actually read in 2 Timothy, it's 2 Timothy 1 verse 7, and it says, "For the Spirit God gives us is not timid, does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline." And when I read that verse, I was so encouraged because His Spirit gives us self-discipline. So when I'm walking on the path that He has called me to, when I'm pursuing the things that He's called me to, the vision that He's called me to, the values that He's put into my heart, and the direction that He wants me to go, then I can rely actually on His Spirit, on His strength, on His giving me of self-discipline to actually move forward. I don't have to do it all on my own. And I remember reading this and sort of thinking about this for quite some time and writing about it and doing all this stuff and just recognizing I'm not carrying these burdens on my own. And so I am able to step forward and go forward into each and every day, knowing that it's, praying into the Spirit and recognizing that He's walking with me, that I'm going to make mistakes, that I'm going to fail, but that I can lean into that and know that I can go forward, not under my strength, but under His strength. I think that it's not uncommon for us to feel guilt and shame for not being self-disciplined. But if we think about it in the larger picture, there's guilt and shame because of our sin in its entirety. We're always going to fail. We're a fallen people, and we're never going to measure up. We're never going to be enough. And that's why we're called to step out in faith. So if I can release that, move forward, pray for God's forgiveness, which He gives, graciously to us, and then step forward in faith, recognizing that stepping out in faith, then I can rely on His power for self-discipline to be able to move forward towards His goal. It's not just me, it's walking with Him. So I worked out last night. I was able to get out there. It wasn't amazing. I went for a walk/jog and listened to a preacher that I really enjoy and kind of was uplifted and encouraged, but I was able to sow some positive seeds. It was a small win, but it was a win. Not under my own strength, definitely not, but under His strength, I was able to make that step. So really what I hope to be able to give you to take away today is just to be encouraged and to know that as God gives you vision and clarity in your life, He also gives you the strength. He also comes alongside you with His Spirit and power to be able to move forward and be able to go after those things that He's put into your heart, after the values that He's given to you, after the vision that He's given to you. So know that you're not walking in that alone. So be encouraged today. Thank you so much for listening. Keep sowing those positive seeds. I really look forward to sharing with you next week.